Hey, this is Pat Iyer with Legal Nurse Podcast. I have just finished speaking with Dr. Hamid Elmyar, and we have been talking about a critical problem that affects healthcare, and that is burnout. As a legal nurse consultant, you may be working on cases where providers committed medical errors because they were burned out or felt that production pressure to push them through an admission, a visit, an assessment, an operation in order to get to the next person as quickly as possible. Hamid, we just finished talking about burnout. What were some of the key points that we covered in the podcast?
Thank you, Pat, again. So we covered what burnout is actually by definition is a phenomenal occupation or occupational phenomenon by WHO, which is a syndrome of conceptualized resulting from chronic workplace stress. However, there's debate as we talked, and your audience can listen more to find what is the debate and if it is only related to workplace. And we also talked about, is it reversible or not, depending on the underlying cause or the root causes of burnout. I would say yes and no. And we also talked about the most importantly why especially related to the pandemic, burnout is definitely increasing in the workplace, especially in the healthcare industry, and how it affects the healthcare industry, and vice versa, the healthcare providers. And most importantly, we also talked in this episode about the solutions for burnout, which we talk at the solutions at 3 different levels, which is the individual levels, at the institutional level, and then at the population level. For further details about that, I would encourage your audience to listen to the podcast, and with your, I'm sure with they have been benefiting from your amazing podcast. And I wish and I hope that they can learn something from this podcast as well, from this episode as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time spending this time with us, Dr. Hamid. And I would urge our viewer to be sure to watch this podcast. If you have left the clinical environment and started a legal nurse consulting business because you were burned out, you'll get some tips in this show about how to avoid replicating the circumstances that led to the burnout, and also to think about, on a broader scheme, what we are doing as a culture, as a community, to support our healthcare providers, because we all need them. We're all invested in making sure that our doctors and nurses are healthy and coming to work every day and motivated, because sooner or later, you're going to be relying on those individuals for your own health. So check out Dr. Hamid's podcast on burnout, and we'll see you on the show.